Good morning, everybody. This is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship. Appreciate you. I'm going to crank this darn truck and get that AC running, man. It's already hotter than a $2 pistol down here. Y'all just pardon the noise if that air conditioner blows a little bit loud, but we're going to take a trip over to the ranch. Appreciate you guys joining me on the ranch road. This morning I'm going to talk to you guys about suppleness. And what does that mean? Boy, I mean, I'm going to throw a little joke out here, I guess. Not really a joke, but a little comment. Many years ago, I was sitting at a horse show, pretty prominent horse show. And this was before our internet and all the other stuff was quite so popular. It was back when we actually had to read a dang magazine and read stuff and read books and whatnot to find out stuff about our horses. Either that or dang have a conversation with somebody, just flat out ask them direct. But I was sitting at this horse show, and by this time I'd already been a trainer for a while. In fact, one of my clients was showing at that particular show and at that particular event, and I'm watching her, and she's doing quite well. But there were two ladies behind me that you could just tell they had read every training article and every magazine there was, because man, they knew the buzzwords. I mean, they oh, that horse is just all strung out. That horse is not very collected. Well, that horse needs to be a little bit softer in the face. And I mean, every buzzword you could think of, but yet they were using them at the most inappropriate moments, where it didn't really fit what was happening in real life, you see. But those around them who didn't know any different, they might have been impressed. Well, it was kind of comical. But it got me thinking about how good people get sometimes at using the buzzwords. And one of those buzzwords is softness and lightness, and what I'm going to talk about today is suppleness. And suppleness is incredibly important. It really is. But what does it mean? What does that mean? Oh, and somebody's going to argue that, oh, well, suppleness is when we want a horse to be soft and supple from nose to tail. And I'm going to go, yep, you're right. That's pretty darn right. And others might argue that, well, I just want them to be responsive to the bit and to my leg. Yup, that's it. You got that right. And it's all of those things. In fact, I'm gonna throw a question at you that was presented to me. One of my dreams came true one time. I was doing a clinic way out in Abilene, Texas, and it's for an organization called the Stock Horse in Texas. And this was years and years ago. But I was asked to do this clinic, and then I was called later and said, well, Van, would you mind sharing the clinic with another clinician? In other words, you know, we're going to have two clinics and two clinicians going on at the same time in the main arena. No, I don't mind at all, but who is it? Oh, well, it's Mr. Jack Brainerd. Well, heck yeah, I'll be tickled to death to do that. You see, Jack had been one of my heroes since I was 9 years old, and I'll tell that story another time. Well, the way we had the arena divided up is that we had the arena divided up into half, and I'm facing one end of the arena. Jack is facing the other end of the arena. We're on horseback side by side. And I yell something out at this lady about picking up on her horse's face and doing whatever. I don't remember exactly what it was. And out of the corner of my eye, I see Jack kind of shaking his head, and I think, oops, I must have said something wrong. You know, and how embarrassing is that to say something wrong in front of your heroes? So in an effort to be discreet, I kind of leaned over and said, hey, Jack, turn your microphone off. So he turned his microphone off. I turned mine off. And I said, did I say something wrong? Oh, no, sir, you didn't say anything wrong. Well, I just saw you shaking your head. I thought I must have said something wrong. He says, no, I liked what you said. He said, I was just shaking my head because I was afraid I was going to, he said, I just kind of jokingly, and I'm of course sure he just meant jokingly, but he said, just afraid I'm going to die before I learn everything about these darn horses that I want to learn. Oh man, I just thought that was so cool. Well, then later on that night, we're eating, and he says to me, Van, what? You know, you were talking about that lady getting her horse softer in the face and flexing it and everything else. He said, but why do we bend and flex our horses? And I said all the classic things. Oh, to get the horse softer, to get the horse more supple, to get the horse more responsive, and we want to get them lighter on the bit. In other words, I said all those classic things, and every time I'd say it, Jack just nodded his head, said, yep, that's it. And then finally he said, well, why do we bend them? To keep them straight. We bend and flex our horses to keep them straight. Our goal is for this horse to seek out straightness. Now, that is the long-term goal of it. But the other side of it is, yes, we do want them soft and supple and responsive. And what I mean by that is I want where the lightest of pressure. When I just barely put a leg on a horse, I want them to be supple enough to move that rib cage. You see, if they move that rib cage just ever so slightly, then I can manipulate their feet a little bit more where I need their feet to go. And let's face it, people, we're not riding their body, we're riding their feet. A horse will go where their feet goes, okay? And I don't want to, I'm going to kind of end with this, just kind of jokingly say, you know, I've had people kind of want to brag a little bit about their horses, which is fine. I think we all should brag, and probably brag more about our horses. But I get tickled occasionally when somebody says, oh, I got a horse that's just broke to death. It does flying lead changes, and it'll side pass and do all this really cool stuff. And of course, I can be a little bit of a smart aleck from time to time, if you hadn't guessed by now. So I'll just kind of look at them as calm as cool. Really, on purpose? In other words, they can all do that. The question is, can we get them to do it how and when we want them to, and at the appropriate moments? And they can only do that if they are responsive. So yes, I want my horses soft and supple. And I start at the nose, I work then from the nose to the hips, from the hips to the shoulders, and then later on we work on the parts in between, the neck and the rib cage. I want this horse so soft and so responsive from nose to tail that I can put them in any position that I need to. Why? So they'll seek out straightness. There's not a single maneuver that we do on a horse that they can't do better when they're straight relative to that maneuver, and that's a whole different topic. But we want to teach our horse to seek out straightness, and we do that by creating suppleness, lightness, responsiveness. I hope that helps you today. I'm already here at the ranch. I'm sure the ladies are waiting for me to get out there and get to working with their colts and their babies. So we'll get started with that. And thank you guys so much for joining us on the Ranch Road. Until next time, this is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship.